hello there, hello there, hello there. Thank you so much for watching Tone Diggy TV. I really do mean that. That's something people say in the beginning of YouTube videos. I really do appreciate you watching and everything. Whether you just download the profiles for free, there's free stuff in the weekly emails, whether you are a paying customer, the most loyal, subscriber and everything, just whether you comment first or you tell me, hey dude, your hair looks stupid or something. Hey, you know what? Just thanks for whatever you're bringing. I really do mean that. I really do mean that. Today we are talking about what's the best Blackface profile? What's the best mid-60s, Fender Blackface amp profile? And we've done a bunch of profiles, but I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I don't think we've made the best one yet. And I'll get into that in a little bit. I'll get into that. Stay tuned to the end of this video, and I'll really get into why I don't think we've made the best one yet. But what we're going to do is look at a couple of these. There's a free performance on the tips and tricks page of the website, the best BF profiles, ? And I'm going to show you some of them right now. That one you just heard is, I think, one of the best that we've ever done. I really do. It might be the best we've ever done until right now. It's the 64 Vibe Reverb. This was Stevie's amp. It's incredible. It sounds like this. I'm going to run you through on this Strat 2 positions with a little jam of like every profile here, and I'll put them on the screen, and then I'm going to, we'll chit-chat about them a little bit. How's that? Here's the 64 Vibe Reverb VB3. Very, very beautiful. Here's the 65 Twin Reverb VB3. All these vibrato channel with the bright switch on. Back to the neck. Goes like this. Nice, I like that. 67 Proverb VB3. Here we go. Okay, I see what you bring to the party, brother. Here we go. 64 Tremolux VB3 with the 10s. Got the 10s now. Back to the neck. Check this out. That's a vibe, brother. I'll tell you that. 1965 Prince 3. Prince 3. What is it? You know what it is. It's a little Princeton, little guy, little tiny guy. You know, bring that to your little gig, your your buddy's house, little session. Those all sound a lot different. And I'd like to know, tell me in the comments what was your favorite. I'll tell you what I think really quick of them. The Prince 3 to me has a very pronounced bass, but if you listen, it's not a very deep bass. And if you look at the amplifier section, it just has a strong, really thick bass frequency, but it's not deep, deep, deep. You know what I mean? It sounds good though, you put it on the bridge. Especially, you know, it just really... You know, it makes a really good rhythm kind of thing because it's nice and it's nice in the low end, I think, but it's not too deep. We jump back here. We get the Tremolux. What do I think about this one, dude? To me, this is kind of one of the most vibey. It's like the most vibey kind of sound. The double 10-inch speakers gives this thing a different kind of vibe completely from most of the other ones. It's thick. It's focused. That's what I like about it. It's focus is more the word I would say. It doesn't sound like a wide Fender, if you know what I mean. Here's this one, 67 Proverb. Sounds like a bright Fender to me. Kind of this thing. Dude, if you're doing that, you know, like all the Instagrammers, kind of that's that brighter, cleaner kind of tone. It's snappy, and I know why that is. See, that's the thing, right? Okay, jump back to the twin reverb and you get on this deal. It's juicy, it's thick, it's got that extra. It's got all the highs. It's not the deepest low, but the twins can do that. But again, I know why that is. And back to the Vibe Reverb, the most thick, the most fat, the 15-incher. When I say 15-incher, I of course am referring to the JB Lansing speaker, the D140F that is inside there. And that really gives it a lot of its tone. Now, here's the thing. Go ahead and download this and let me know what you think about the different sounds, the different tones. I think a lot of people have made the decision in their head to go, oh yeah, that sounds like a Fender. And that's what we do. We go, that sounds like a Fender, that sounds like a Vox. But when we say that, we're referring to an entire manufacturer. And we're referring to a whole line of amps. So recently I have purchased, I have 13 now, I think, Blackface Fender amps. My friends, they sound different. And I've always wondered, Leo Fender was a guy who, think about it, he designed this guitar to have a neck that you would just replace, because replacing the neck would have been cheaper and easier than getting everyone's guitar back and doing luthier work on it, replacing the frets. That was expensive. So he thought, well, I can just manufacture more necks and you could just buy a neck. That's easier. It doesn't take as much time. And I have my manufacturing assembly line, set up anyway, right? He did the same thing with the Tellys. His whole design was solid body, bolt-on pieces. This, of course, has a synchronized, tremolo system, which he patented. All of the amps, use the same outside, the same materials. They're just changing speakers, tubes, and the components inside. And Fender is notorious for their variations of amps. Quite literally, there are one-offs and amps that are made different in a batch of 3 or 4 or 5, and it is based almost entirely on whatever happened at the factory that day. If they ran out of one type of speaker, they didn't stop building the amp. They would just replace it with another type of speaker. Sometimes that speaker was a speaker they hadn't used for 2 or 3 or 4 years, and they just found it in the back of the warehouse, and they plopped it in there on those models. And that was on a Monday afternoon, and Tuesday they did the same thing, and Wednesday morning the replacement or the new speaker shipment arrived at the factory. Mr. Leo Fender was notorious for reusing his styrofoam cup. He was a very thrifty man, and if you think about his age, he was building these in the late 50s, and at his age, he would have had quite the experience with the Great Depression. And a lot of people from that era, the silent generation and the great generation, all of them would have been old enough to have the Great Depression really change them. And at least either remember from childhood or being older. But you think of what that does to people, and that really kicked off a level of manufacturing efficiency and expertise, I think, that really helped revolutionize America in a lot of ways. And it's really the story of the 1950s or 60s. It really is a part of the story of Fender amps. And Leo Fender, I don't want to call him cheap. He was very frugal, though, and he was very interested on how to manufacture these things for not a lot of money. And I think that was the guy was running a business, and so it's always struck me, knowing that, why did he have 13 amplifiers in the line. I mean, it really seems like the type of company that would have had more like Vox. AC-10 for students, AC-15, one speaker, AC-30, two speakers, and maybe there's a big boy, a tall thing for going on the road professionals, an AC-50. It really, that's what it feels like the lineup would be. Instead, we get Champ, Vibrachamp, Princeton, Princeton Reverb, Deluxe, Deluxe Amp, Deluxe Reverb, Pro Reverb. We get the Super Reverb, the Twin. Similar to the Super Reverb, we get a concert amp. It's seemingly not that different, but it's a different amp in a similar chassis. A Showman, a Bandmaster, a Bassman, a Tremolux with different speakers, right? It's everything. A Vibrolux and a Vibe Reverb. And even though they use different 6L6, 6V6, and all these things, they are so, a lot of the models are so similar yet so different. Little things changing the speaker and everything. It would appear to me he would have thought this is we don't need to offer all this. We could streamline this and make it easier, but they didn't. And as I've owned these amps and as I play them, I realized they really are quite different. So I'd love for you to play these. Let me know which is your favorite. And you might remember at the beginning of the video I said we haven't made our favorite yet. Well, let me tell you something about these real quick. The Prince, what you notice in this low-end bass is a type of bass that is just very... To me, I know why that sounds that way. The extra sort of bass and low end, that to me is the sound of a mic'd up Princeton, and it's a sound you hear on stuff, small amp mic'd up, but that extra bass comes from a proximity effect, and a lot of times I will use the proximity effect, getting the microphone closer to the speaker to get more bass out of a small amp. In this pack, I did that. I think it works really well, and I like the sound of it. You can, of course, always trim the amount of bass back. That's very easy to do. Not the point of the video, but all that to say, I have the mics in one position one way. You come back to the Tremolux and... Now, what I both hear there is both of those basses are similar, even though they're different in level. They're similar in their tone because they're both 10-inch speakers, and I recognize that sound. Come back over here to this deeper, 12-inch. You also have that big, wide, extra breathiness from the 100 watts. Here, I'll tell you, 1967, they already switched to the Utah Blue speakers, the blue label speakers made by Utah. Those were brighter. You see those same speakers being used later in 67, 68, 69 as we get into the Silverface era. So a brighter amp tone there. I will have that available with both. With several speakers when we do the big 65 collection. And then, of course, the JB Lansing, the JBL D140F. To me, that is the sound of 1,000 Angels, singing the praises of the genius of Leo Fender. Really, that is a beautiful sound. And even this stuff. So good, so good. Our best profiles, I don't think we've made them yet, because I think the real downfall of all of the Tone Junkie Blackface stuff to this point is that you can't yet sit down and experience all the amps with all of the variables constant and all of them in front of you. So what is the best Blackface profile? I don't think we've made it yet, but my goal is with the 65 collection, which we'll show all the amps again. The goal of having all of these at one time is that I can sit down and go, okay, here's one microphone setup, microphone pre and everything, and I can keep that constant and it's in its location and in its technique of miking the amp, right? All of the signal chain can be constant as we then go through all the amps. So you can know that the signal chain is constant and the differences you're hearing is really the difference in the speakers and the amps, as though you were sitting in front of, as though you were getting that signal chain in 1965. You went into a studio and someone said, how about I cue up for you in the studio every 1965 Fender, or every one from the Blackface collection, from the Fender lineup. And maybe we do that with another set of microphones and another signal chain, maybe different pre's or something. And we do that there. And so you can appreciate the difference in the signal chains, but also you really get the differences of the amps without other variables changing. That's the goal. That's the goal. Because I want you to hear these things. They're all so different. Why did they make 13 different ones? I used to not understand. Now I get it, and I want you to get it too. I've been HW. Download these for free. This is a free performance, and you can enjoy the profiles. You can save them. You can go, save to browser pool, and you'll have these profiles. My name's HW. Thanks so much for watching Tone Junkie TV. HW, you want to play us out? Yes, I do. Thank you.